Hello everyone, this is Jubes 2011 aka Mana Weezar. Welcome to another episode of Mana's Audiobooks and Music, where I make music and I put some songs with some of the books that I read on here. I'm gonna read chapter 5 of Fear by Liza Scotland, and I hope you enjoy it. I might read chapter 6 also, just letting you know. It's just, like I said, it's been a while and I get nervous reading to other people every once in a while. Because people, when they get read books, they don't like words being mispronounced. And I have trouble reading some words that are in books like the one that I'm reading, which is Fear by Liza Scotland, who is a #1 best-selling author. All right. Here goes. Benny was on a tear, having spent the cab ride back to the office ranting about Machiavelli, despite Judy's efforts to her and Mary's efforts not to part. Marshall, Benny called as she approached the reception desk, but the receptionist was already on her feet and holding out a pink flurry of phone messages. Hi guys, the media has been calling all morning. I told them about the press conference and we're good to go. Thank you. Benny grabbed the messages on the fly and headed down the hallway toward their offices, followed by Judy and Mary, who caught Marshall's eye with a wink. Marshall stopped Mary before they left the reception area. Mary, it's lunchtime and you need to eat. I ordered you some vegetable soup and crackers, and it's in the conference room. I put your baby gifts in your office. Thanks so much, Mary said, meaning it. Marshall was a mother of 3, so she had the pregnancy drilled down. Did you get lunch for Judy? She's eating for 2 herself and Lao Shu. Namaste, Judy said with a smile. Marshall chuckled. Yes, I got you and Benny the usual, and it's in the conference room. I think you have enough time to eat before it starts. Thanks, Judy said, and they started walking down the hall, way after Benny, who hurried ahead barking orders. John, where are you? I need answers and documents. Here I am, John came out of his office with a handful of papers. I figured out what happened with the plaintiffs. We got 16 resumes in response to my ad. All the applicants were men. I interviewed 3, of which turned out to be a plaintiff, McManus. I think you were on trial at the time. That's why you didn't know. Here's your copies of the emails and resume. Thanks. Benny took the papers, but kept moving. Walk with me. I want to understand as much as possible about this fact situation. Obviously, we're not telling them at the press conference, but I want to be up to speed. John fell into step with Benny. Do you want me at the press conference? Are you kidding? Benny didn't hide her annoyance. You have to explain yourself, and we're gonna meet now to prepare. Where's Anne? Waiting for you inside, John answered. Just as Benny opened the door to the conference room and Mary and Judy filed in behind her, surprised at the sight. The room was back to normal except for a rolling rack of clothes, boxes of shoes, and professional-grade makeup case, and a full-length mirror leaning against the wall. Benny, don't freak, Anne said, putting up her hand like a traffic cop. She had on a slim black dress which hugged her model thin body, making her arms look like licorice sticks. Her long red hair had been brushed to perfection, and her makeup looked freshly done. I know you're not going to like this, but you need to take my advice just this once. What's going on here? Benny stopped at the threshold of the conference room with John. Judy went directly to her lunch, which had been set out on the table, and Mary wobbled over to the clothes rack, which held an array of gorgeous dresses and suits with the price tags attached. They had been divided into 3 sections: Benny, Judy, Mary. "Just hear me out, Benny," Annie said urgently. "I know you don't care about clothes, but your messaging at the press conference has to be on point. Part of that is how you look. During lunch, I went shopping with a stylist friend of mine, and we pulled clothes for each of you, and a makeup artist I know lent us everything we need. I even have lip plumpers." "No." Benny shook her head, incredulous. "That's absolutely out of the question. We need to prepare. I can make you up while you work, all of you. Just pick a dress and we'll get started." "Get this stuff out of here." Benny set the documents on the table. "Benny, listen, I watched Machiavelli's press conference, and it was perfection. He looked the part, and so did the plaintiffs. They were appealing, put together, and credible." "Please, the plaintiffs weren't credible because they didn't say anything." "They didn't have to. They dressed the part, and they acted the part. They scored without saying a word. And Machiavelli looked awesome too. Respectable, believable, responsible. He's style and we're substance. We always have been. Please listen to me. I'm right." Anne took a step closer, her expression pleading. "This isn't an argument in court. It's a press conference where the visual matters as much as the content. These reporters are going to take pictures of you, print them, and publish them. The photos of your press conference are going to be shown next to Machiavelli's. We don't have time to argue this. We didn't get where we are on our looks." Listening, Mary thought Anne was making sense. Why turn down a free makeover? Besides, one of the dresses was super cute, especially for maternity clothes, I mean. It was a navy linen shift with a boat neck, in which she would look nautical, but not like a battleship. But she would take a pass on the lip plumpers. Everything on her was plump enough. Mary said, "Benny, I think Anne might be onto something. It's like who wore it better for lawyers? But we look fine, don't we?" Benny strode to the mirror, and Mary could tell that even she wasn't completely happy with her reflection. Benny's blonde hair had curled in the humidity, so tendrils coiled out of her top knot like broken springs. Her khaki suit was as wrinkled as a vintage, and Mary was pretty sure she hadn't shaved her legs recently, but that was unsayable. "Sorry, but I agree with Benny," Judy said, sitting at the table with her mouth full of cheese hoagie. "We are what we are. That is the way of the tao." Mary looked over. "Did you really want to be a Buddhist nun?" "Yes. How did I not know that?" "Because people are eternally unknowable." "More Lao Shu?" "No, my mother." Judy shrugged, chewing away. "Anyway, we don't need to get all dressed up. Everybody already knows what we look like. We look like ourselves. I'm a case in point." Mary hid her smile while Benny, Anne, and John took in Judy's outfit. One of her wackiest ever, in fact. If Judy had a stylist, it would be Spin Art. She wore a banana yellow t-shirt and said, "You say you want a Weevolution," which she had on her throwback painter's pants and vegan clogs in green. Her pink hair stuck out like a fuzzy tennis ball, and from one earlobe hung a gray feather, which Mary hoped was a new earring, and not from a passing pigeon. Anne folded her arms. "Well, ladies, what's the verdict?" "I vote yes," Mary answered. "I vote no," Judy answered. Benny glanced sideways at Anne. "Only if you do it while we work, and no lip plumpers." Chapter 6. The press conference was about to start, and Benny, Mary, Judy, Anne, and John settled on one side of the conference table, while reporters took seats on the other side of the table, spilling outside the room and opening notebooks, thumbing through cell phones, and taking pictures with their cell phones, cameras, and video cameras. Mary faced the throng with renewed self-confidence, since she had managed to keep her soup and crackers down, and was nothing like new clothes to boost a girl's mood. She had on a shiny pair of low-heeled black pumps, a fresh pair of contacts, and more makeup than most hookers, which was necessarily a bad thing. She glanced over at Benny, who looked beautiful with only light makeup emphasizing her bright blue eyes and a bronzer on her lovely cheekbones. Her crazy curls had been flat-ironed into a classic French twist, and for the first time ever she wore a suit that wasn't a Brooks Brothers khaki. Anne had talked her into a well-tailored red suit because it was a bold color, which made it butch enough for Benny to feel in charge. Sitting next to Mary was Judy in a Fox Chanel suit of pinkish tweed, which looked fashion-forward with her magenta hair and edgy makeup. None of the reporters seemed to notice that she still had on her vegan clogs, since she refused to wear any of the new shoes because they were leather. Anne sat next to her, undoubtedly thrilled to be finished styling her colleagues while they studied documents, argued over case strategy, and rehearsed the press conference. Just sat at the end of the line holding his head high, which Mary knew was an act. He was still embarrassed that he had been mentioned in the complaint, and most of the rehearsal was directed at him, since he would have to take questions about what he said during the job interview. "Ladies and gentlemen," Benny began, with a newly glossy smile. She had on nude lip gloss, since she wouldn't agree to actual lipstick, much less lip liner. "Thank you for coming. You know me and my partners well enough to know that we rarely speak to the press. We simply don't try our cases in the media, but at the same time, we felt compelled to respond not only to the allegations raised in this meritless complaint, but also to the entire erroneous statements about us personally made by opposing counsel Nick Machiavelli at his press conference today." The reporter scribbled away. The photographers took pictures, and somebody in the back raised his hand. "Will you take questions later?" "Of course, briefly." Benny smiled again, as if she didn't mind being interrupted, which Mary knew she hated. In any event, they had already decided that they would take questions, anticipated what they would be asked, and developed answers for each one. As you already know, Nick Machiavelli has today filed a complaint with the Pennsylvania Human Relations Commission on behalf of 3 individual plaintiffs, suing me and my partners personally under the Pennsylvania Human Relations Act, alleging that we failed to hire the three individuals because they were male. I'm not going to discuss the specifics of the allegations, and I'm speaking for my partners today, Mary D'Annunzio and Judy Kari. Benny gestured to Judy and Mary, who nodded, but stayed quiet according to the plan. We wanted to go on record to make clear that we deny these allegations and that they're completely untrue, and that we will prove as much before the commission, and if need be in the court of common pleas. However, a categorical denial is not the reason we invited you to our offices today. Mary's face twitched under her makeup. She knew what Benny was going to say next because they had decided upon it together. But it was tough and aggressive. Judy had agreed, even though it was against her religion, and Mary had gone along with it too. But that didn't mean that she wasn't nervous. She sent up a prayer to St. Jude, patron saint of lost causes, and tried not to see that as symbolic. Then he tilted her chin upward. What we want you to understand is that this litigation against us was filed in bad faith. It's not a lawsuit, it's a smear campaign. Behind the smear campaign is not these three individual plaintiffs. The person behind the smear campaign is Nick Machiavelli, and we have ample reason to believe that he manufactured this case. She paused when the reporters reacted with surprise and interest, obviously anticipating something juicy. You may be wondering why he would do such a thing. Answer is for personal revenge because we defeated him in a previous case, and for other personal reasons we will not detail today. But as he said, there will be plenty of twists and turns as this litigation goes on, so stay tuned. Instantly, the reporters reacted, looking at each other, scribbling more hastily, or starting their cell phone video cameras. If they hadn't already, Judy stiffened in her chair, and Mary kept her face front and her lipstick smile plastered on. As Benny continued, unfortunately, procedures under the Pennsylvania Human Relations Act do not provide for a counterclaim by defendants or a mechanism for dismissing a lawsuit brought in by bad faith. However, we are putting Nick Machiavelli on notice. We will defeat him before the Human Relations Commission, and if he continues to pursue this matter in common pleas court, we will file a counterclaim against him for fees and damages. Benny paused, eyeing the reporters directly, and we will defeat him, and soundly. Mary swallowed hard. She didn't know if Benny was right, that they would be able to prove that Nick had manufactured the case, but they were going to devote themselves to the case for the foreseeable future, or at least until she gave birth to a child, whichever came first. Ladies and gentlemen, that's our statement. So I open it up to a few brief questions at this time. The reporters all shouted at once. Benny, I have a question. Benny, who's counsel for the defense, and why isn't he or she here? So this is a vendetta? Benny raised a hand to silence them. Counsel for the defense is Roger Vitez, unless it's pronounced Vitez, and he isn't here because we can handle ourselves. And no, this is not a vendetta, not on our part. If anything, we're on the receiving end of the vendetta, and if it was anybody but us, I would say we were victims. But anybody who knows this firm knows that we're no victims. A few of the reporters chuckled, and a woman nodded in approval. Somebody from the back yelled out, "Benny! Any comment about the statement that John Foxman allegedly made to one of the plaintiffs?" Benny held up a hand again. "Yes, that's an excellent question and needs to be addressed, so I'll turn it over to my associate, John Foxman, because he can speak for himself." She gestured to John. "John, would you like to take that question?" Mary held her breath, knowing that it was risky, even though they had discussed verbatim what he would say. She felt Judy nudge her under the table with her clog, which was kind of scratchy. John cleared his throat, facing the reporter. "Yes, I can answer that succinctly. First, I do not believe this firm or any of its partners discriminate against men. I do not believe they ever discriminated against me, and I do not believe that they discriminated against the individual plaintiffs, as the complaint alleges. I agree completely with Benny that this lawsuit is a vendetta brought for personal reasons by opposing counsel Nick Machiavelli. I myself have personal knowledge of the facts that support our position, but I am not going to discuss that today." John spoke firmly and confidently, his tone ringing true, and Mary could see the reporters reacting positively. She began to feel a glimmer of hope that this press conference had paid off. In addition to getting her a free dress and shoes, getting out in front of the allegations was the right move. But she knew it was only the beginning of a long, difficult battle. John continued, "That said, I did interview the plaintiff in question, and I did make the statement that he alleged. However, in the complaint, the statement is taken completely out of context. As you can see, I'm the only male lawyer at this firm, and occasionally, yes, I do feel out of place. In fact, this morning, we held a baby shower in this very room, and I felt out of place. Way out of place." The reporters laughed, taking notes and snapping pictures of John, who forced a smile, and Mary gave him a lot of credit. This couldn't have been easy, but he was hitting a home run, just by being honest. She felt a sudden swell of pride for truth, justice, and the American way, or maybe it was the hormones. John heaved a final sigh. "So I think that's all I should say at the present time, as a trial lawyer. I hate to give the other side free discovery, but like Benny, I felt compelled to respond to these allegations and explain them. Before I finish, I'd like to take a moment to apologize to my colleagues at the firm, whom I like and respect so very much. I'm sorry I spoke so imprudently, and I'm sorry I gave Nick Machiavelli ammunition to use against us." Mary looked over in surprise, and so did Benny and Judy. They hadn't rehearsed any of this before the conference, and John was clearly speaking from the heart. Benny didn't hesitate. "John, thank you so very much." She returned her attention to the reporters. "Any last questions before we get back to work?" "Just one," female reporter yelled from the back. "John, if you like it so much here, why are you looking for a new job?" "Wait. Well," John didn't finish the sentence, turning red under his fair skin. Mary had no idea John was looking for a job, and she was pretty sure that nobody else knew either. John seemed completely flustered, so it must have been true. Benny rallied. "Thank you for your question," she called to the reporter without missing a beat. "John's future employment isn't relevant to the allegations in this lawsuit. Nor is it anyone's business but his. But did you know he had his resume out then?" Benny kept her smile firmly in place. "As you know, Rosato and D'Annunzio was founded not as an all-female firm, but as a firm that represented those seeking justice and vindication for individual civil liberties. As such, we have no problems with anyone who seeks to change or even better their lot in life. And equally, we value the privacy of those that do so, and I assume you will too." "John, why are you telling people that you'll never make partner at Rosato because you're not a woman?" The question came from the same reporter, a scruffy woman with spiky, gelled hair in the back. "Doesn't that support the complaint, or is that bad faith too?" John recoiled as if absorbing a blow. Mary froze in stunned belief. Judy couldn't hide her frown. Anne's eyes rounded with shock. "That's enough for now." Benny rose quickly despite her new high heels. "We're not going to examine every single statement John may or may not have made. Nor are we going to try the lawsuit in my conference room." "John, answer the question," the scruffy reporter called out, and the others joined in, making a minor up. "Mr. Foxman, any comment? Is that true?" "Who'd you say that to?" "Mr. Foxman, look over here." Benny ignored them all. "Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for coming. We appreciate your attention and we look forward to never seeing you again." The reporters burst into laughter, closing their notebooks, pocketing their cell phones, shutting down the cameras, picking up their messenger bags, and getting ready to go. Mary, Judy, Anne, and John remained seated while Benny did some glad-handing, then stopped the woman with the gelled spiky hair who had excused the last question. "Excuse me," Benny said, touching the woman's arm. "What's your name? Who are you with?" "I freelance," the reporter answered, hurrying ahead, bolting out of the conference room ahead of the others. Then they left, and Benny closed the door behind them. They were finally alone in the conference room, but nobody said anything. Mary sensed that partly they were waiting for the hubbub to die down on the other side of the door, and partly there was nothing to say. The press conference had been a resounding success until it turned into a disaster. Mary was still processing what she had just heard, and Judy looked as stunned as she was that they had let their game faces slip. Benny leaned against the back of the closed door. "Foxman!" she said, her blue eyes flashing with cold fury. "What the hell?" That's the end of chapter 6. Thank you for listening. I highly recommend that you read along the book if you have it. Fear by Liza Scotland. And if you don't have the book, then you can listen to it on this episode. Then you can listen to it on my podcast, which is Mana's Audiobooks and Music. Or you could buy it on Amazon. Like I said, on my podcast, I recommend and read books, and sometimes I play the audiobooks that were already made. I even say who originally read them and all that. Giving them their credit that is due. Other than that, like I said, thank you for listening. I highly recommend this book. What a day. Hang on. Having a little difficulty here. This is, the music is, Burning Fire by Camino. Alright, I'm gonna play a song by, K-pop artist named Eve. Just remember, I'm live on Spoon. That's why I'm mentioning people's names. Alright, next I'm gonna play Welcome to Death by Anti-Demon. I hope you're enjoying this music. Alright, here goes. Believe it or not, these are Christian bands, except for the K-pop ones. Hey, next I'm gonna play Continue by Trident. Trident is, well, I think it's a Japanese like a Japanese J-pop song, so I'm gonna play that next, okay? Hang on. Here goes. This is Continue by Trident. Just tell me if I'm being too loud, or if y'all can hear the music. Everybody likes to listen to rock music when they're having a bad day, so that's why I put Music for a Bad Day as a title. So yeah, dance to the music. Get all that anger out before you go home. Sing to it if you know the song. Alright. Next I'm gonna play Skillet. A song called Famous by Skillet. That's the name of the band, Skillet. Sorry, I'm using the Amazon Music app on another phone to play this music, so here goes. Famous by Skillet. Make you famous. Make you famous. Make you famous. Life you up, make you famous. I wanna make you famous. Alright. Next I'm gonna play Monster by Skillet. In the closet, in the halls, you wake and I can't control it. And it's the bed in my closet, in my head. Body, come and save me from this naked end. Feel it deep within, it's just beneath the skin. I must confess that I feel like a monster. Hate what I've become, it's just begun. I must confess that I feel like a monster. I feel like a monster. I feel like a monster. That was Monster by Skillet, everybody. Next, I'm gonna play Animal I Have Become by 3 Days Grace. For some reason, Skillet and 3 Days Grace are my favorite Christian rock bands as far as I know. Hang on. Like I said, I'm using my Amazon Music app. Sorry, like I said, I'm using my Amazon Music app to play all this music on a different phone. Here we go. Animal I've Become, 3 Days Grace. I might sing along with it. So many times I've hurt myself caged inside. Somebody help me from this nightmare. I can't control myself. As you can see the darkest side of me. No one can help me see this animal I have become. Help me believe it's not the real me. Somebody help me see this animal. Escape myself. Many times I've lied. There's so rage inside. Somebody help me from this nightmare. I can't control myself. If you can see the darkest side of me, no one can understand this animal I have become. Help me believe it's not the real me. Somebody help me turn this animal I have become. Help me believe it's not the real me. Somebody help me tame myself, me from this nightmare. Can't control myself. Can't break me from this nightmare. Can't mistreat myself. See the darkest side of me. No one can ever seem to stand no more. I have become. Help me believe it's not the real me. Somebody help me tame this animal I have become. Help me believe it's not the real me. Somebody help me tame this animal. Okay, next I will play Make a Move by Icon for Hire. Other than that, I hope y'all have fun listening to this. I hope you followers of mine are telling other people and sharing it. Those of you here on Spoon and those of you here on Audios. Alright, next I'm gonna play Cletanoia by Overlord. Well, from the anime Overlord. I guess you could say that's my favorite anime. That one, maybe Sword Art, and maybe Naruto, and not very many people like it, but One Piece. Rama's pretty good. Where's my soul? Where's my heart? Go this way, walk through the night. My team. 2, 3 steps to the royal throne. Break it off, take it off. Tell me just play, or just play. Crazy love, crazy love. Alright, next I'm gonna play an anime song called Veil. I hope y'all like it. It was okay. Other than that, like I said, I'm playing this music from the Amazon Music app. Cause I got Amazon Prime, so here goes. Okay, next I'm gonna play Spark again. Alright. That was Spark again. By Aimer. Okay. Next I'm gonna play Jesus Freak by DC Talk. I bet y'all haven't heard that from them in a while. To be exact, I don't think people know this very much. Not very many anyway, but before they broke up, DC Talk was a Christian rock band with these 3 singers. Toby Mac was in it. The lead singer of Newsboys was in it. I forgot who the third one though. I think it was Israel Houghton or Kirk Franklin. One of them. But yeah, they were in the Christian band called DC Talk. A 90s Christian band. Maybe that's why I like them. Because I was born in the 90s and I used to listen to them a lot on TV. So here we go, Jesus Freak. People sing, Jesus Freak. What will people do when they find out it's true? I don't even care if they label me a Jesus Freak. The truth. Can they label me a Jesus Freak? What will people do when they find out it's true? I don't even care if they label me a Jesus Freak. They don't understand the truth. Alright guys, I'm off Spoon. Oh, it's a live podcast place. Yeah, it's pretty fun. I'm on the top 78% when it comes toward ranking. 'Cause not very many people are listening. So please, don't just listen on here. Listen to my podcast over there on Spoon. There's an app called Spoon. It looks like a peanut, like those peanut cookies that are actually in the shape of a peanut. And then it says Spoon. Except the peanut, on Google Play Store is red, and then it says Spoon in the middle. So don't just follow me on here, follow me over there on Spoon, where I go live. Thank you, and goodbye, and hopefully y'all will follow me on Spoon, and who knows, maybe y'all will like it, maybe not, I don't really mind. So, other than that, thank you everybody for coming.